Hey everybody, Tom here. We're gonna learn how to play Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin today. I've got the tab open and we're just gonna work right through it. So this infamous riff is really short and simple in concept. But what I just played there is like the skeleton of the riff. We want to put some accentuations on almost every step of this. We're going to be sliding into that first note. This is a slide from nowhere, so I'm not starting at some note and going over. I'm moving while I start to push, while I'm picking. Sliding into the note, sliding into home, like I was late for 7 and I had to get there before my picking was done. I use my ring finger for that, so the pointer finger can grab D on the A string, the 5th fret there. And when we play that note, we're going to bend it up a quarter step, which is like a tiny little bend, essentially out of tune a little. But when we do that, we're going to also hit the open D underneath it, which is in tune because it's just the open string. And this is going to give us the big sound of the riff. It sounds like more than one guitar playing the riff, and one of them is a little bit playing too hard or is playing too boisterously. Right there, we've got the other essential ingredient to this riff. That is our chugging riff, where we're going to hit a power chord on 7A and 9D. This is an E5 chord. We're going to hit that like a regular chord, but then we're going to drop on and palm mute the other 3 16th notes in our bar. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. And this also continues in the first opening riffs of the song. They extend how long this chugging part goes on. Let's watch. So here, we get to the verse, and the riff suddenly becomes its final form. We could say that the phrasing of this riff is a lot in the pickup. It's in the back half of the bar. It feels like it starts from the beginning of the song at the end of the bar. By the time we get to here in the next bar, that's the whole riff. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 1 E, 2 E's, and 3, and then I slide away in preparation to slide back in. Those little things, those are what make the style on this song work. It sounds very slinky and smooth, otherwise this riff could sound pretty pedestrian. We've got the chorus as the next part. What happens here at the chorus, we lead into it like we're going into any other bar in the song, but then we're going to get this running pattern that it's never quite the same in the rhythmic notation, it looks like. Maybe this bar and this bar. But what we have is we're chugging the E like normal, but instead of playing for the melody, we're going to hit a D chord in sync with the lyrics. Want a lot of love. Want a lot of love. That's the easiest way to think of how to play along to this. And then the chugging E is in the same place it was in the groove earlier in the song, in the verse riff. When we're done the chorus, we just go smoothly back in. And then we're back into the verse. So this continues. same as the first verse. The drums are now fully involved, but the riffing on guitar is the same. Back to the chorus. So, at this point, the guitar just hits that E chord, rings out, and cuts out. And the song goes off into far out space nuts. Jimmy Page is playing what's called a theremin, the old-timey radio wave instrument that has a couple of antennas coming off of a box, and as you move your hand in proximity to the antennas, it can create a melody out of the feedback that you make. Best to listen to the song and see what that sounds like. The band also goes through a bunch of, rhythmic explorations, things like that. The singer is vocally improvising. This is all to do with having a different C section in the song. We had the verse, the chorus, but the bridge here is something wildly different. The idea here was just to break up the normal thing that you would hear on a radio single. Led Zeppelin's production techniques were all about doing something unusual for the time. And we're coming up to the guitar solo here. We will hear a drum roll that marks it in. I'm just going to move ahead because this sounds like nonsense on the digital tab. Now coming up, we're in the blues box. We're at the 12th fret pentatonic minor. Let's take a look at that right there. As I said before we stopped, we're at the 12th fret doing box 1 of the pentatonic scale, and for our purposes we're also going to include in that scale the blues note. And our lick is pretty standard as blues rock licks go here. We're going to bend the G up. We're going to use the ring finger and the middle finger both on the string so that you have strength and control. Keep your fingers arched with the tip of your finger fretting the note. This way you can try to straighten your finger, but the string just bends up nicely, preventing you from straightening your finger. We've got the pointer finger holding the 12th fret on both those two strings. The pinky finger or the ring finger can extend out to get that 15th fret D. Then we're going to grab, here's the blues note, 15th fret on the G. This is it's a B flat note. And that bend there, we're going to bend it up again using two fingers so we have stability. We're also going to do a vibrato at the top. Now, one thing we can do with a riff like this is we can slow it down, practice it at slow speed, and bring it up in speed. Let's do that for this riff. Here we're at about 50%. So we've got it at a manageable speed where we can read it and play it at the same time and watch what our fingers are doing. If you want, you can even bring it down slower than that. Maybe try 33, but exactly a third of the normal speed. This will be a little sluggish, but should sound still natural. So this is really useful to do because the way that your muscle memory works when you're learning a guitar solo is that it doesn't matter how fast you give your muscle memory information. It matters how good is the information. If I rehearse this lick really slow 10 times, that's way better than rehearsing it fast and sloppy 100 times. Because if all I've really done is do a sloppy attempt many times, then I'm essentially telling my muscle memory that that's how we're going to do it. That when it's time to play it for real, we're going to do it sloppy. So we're going to go slow. And we work the speed up gradually. We just did 33%. Let's get it there. About 10% faster. Notice when we play this lick, we don't have to move far to the left or the right to get all the notes we need. It fits under one hand position. And because we're at the 12th fret here and the frets are small, you can even get away with using these 3 fingers to do it. But there's not really a wrong way to do it if the song sounds good when you play it. Let's bring the speed up again. This time let's go to about 52. Now as we get to that G string lick there, this guy here, it's important to make sure we have all 3 of those notes fretted down so that we can pull them off and also note the rhythm underneath. They're a triplet. Triplet, triplet. Let's run it up to 65% here. This is about 2/3. And let's bring it to about 80% now. Then we feel comfortable at 80%. Let's try 90, and then we'll jump to 100 after that. Ooh, I squawked it, and I missed it. There we go. So now we get to where we can replicate it on 90%. Let's bring it to 100. Come on, slider. There we go. Now we're at 100%. We know the path because we started down slow at 33% or so. Now our fingers don't feel rushed. Now this is a process you can repeat for every lick in here, and if you guys want, I can make a separate video for this solo where we do exactly that on all the licks. But for today, we're just going to explain the rest of them and see what else we have in the song. So, that was the opening lick for our solo. Now the band, you may have noticed, the other track is just hitting an E. We get done that first lick, here's the band again, and right away Jimmy Page is down here at the low end. And we've got this little lick here that honestly in the recording it kind of disappears. As we get to about the D or the A string, the mix just goes down low because the band is coming back, and it's kind of a blustery thing that doesn't really have like a concise melodic phrase. And we get to our next one here. We're back in that same position in the 12th fret. This is an interesting lick just because it's another one of those standard things. We're going to bend up and do the little strings just like before, and then we're going to grab ring finger to bend the B string, pinky is going to grab the 15th fret on the little string while we're still bending, or at least while we're still controlling string B, so that we don't have to hop away and come back into our bend. This lets us connect the notes a little smoother than if we had to go and hop across with the same finger. Our next one, another big Jimmy Page technique here. We've got, so that giant bend I just did there, that is the 20th fret getting bent up 2 whole steps. So not 1 semitone, not 2, not 3, but 4 semitones, which means my 20th fret is going to sound like the note on the 24th fret if I had one. And this is best to do with lots of backup from your other fingers. I get 3 fingers on there so I can push up nice. We want to make sure that we have the fingertip on and that our fingers are arched, because this is where that control practice really comes home to roost. We need to keep that string ringing and under control way up there. So, and then after he drops it back, I just messed that up a little bit. We have a pretty standard lick that ends on a 17th fret B with some vibrato. Also, a quick note, Jimmy Page used, and I am using, really light strings. These are 8 gauge, extra light, extra slinky strings, I guess they're called, the blue Ernie Ball pack. The thinner the strings are, the easier you can bend. And I mean, I challenge you to truly tell the difference in heaviness between a 9 or a 10 gauge string and an 8 gauge string. It's just not that big a thing, and it makes it way easier to play all this classic rock. So that's our lick in bar 73. Next we get the last 2 licks of the solo, and we're kind of just dancing around, you could say, the E pentatonic scale created starting from the 17th fret of B. I guess the blues scale, pardon me. Those notes are largely what's being used in here. We've got the 17th fret B, we've got 19 going up, returning to 19, walking down those 3 notes in a row, and then we've got this interesting little bit here. It's 20 to 17, so it's pulling off from G to E, and then we're just picking from G to E, so we get the same 2 notes but with different delivery. And these little tiny details are what makes the tab, or what makes Jimmy Page's soloing style sound out. We've got so many eccentricities on so many of the notes, because he's just thinking, what's the maximum number of things I can do to put emotion into this solo. So our second, or our very last bar here in the solo is just the response to bar 74. And we've got these 3 bends, and they're saying to do a 1.5 here. This might be one of these spots where in bluesy guitar it's kind of more about the delivery than whether you truly deliver that exactly 3 semitone bend. We could do 1.25 here, it might be fine. We could do 1 3/4 here, it might also be fine. In live performances, of course, Jimmy Page would play something largely different every time, but that was a little rough. We're basically trying to cram in 3 bends, and that last one we might find ourselves even pushing it higher up, because we're going to put our pinky finger in there, get the little string, just like we did on the 15th fret in bar 72. So that's the end of the solo, and then it cuts real quick back into the riff. The riff is just all of a sudden back, and the verse is back as well. And we repeat the same pattern that we saw in verse and chorus 1 and 2. So nothing really different from about here, bar 76, all the way down to about bar 90. We hit bar 90, this is the bridge, this is the big vocal moment for the singer, and we're going to hear band drops out here. And we get the big way down inside, woman, you need. I'm not a singer, can you tell? There, we have a new chord. We have not seen this chord yet in the song. It's just an A done as a bar chord or partial bar chord up here on the 5th fret of the big string. And it's just significant to point out that up until this point, the only chords in the song have been E and D. So this is, A is the official 3rd chord of the song, and it only happens once. As it rings out, Robert Plant does his big rising, and his big scream. I'm not even going to try and do it any justice. And we get the drum roll right back into the riff. But then, what's that? So, when we hit the outro, this is kind of reminiscent of Motown and R&B recordings, big band recordings and stuff, where when the principal part of the song was done, the band would expand on the riff or jam on it or slightly loosen up to allow other improvisations or variations on the riff to come in. And we see one here at the end of every other bar. They're just throwing in this little phrase. It's easiest to see it right here. And it comes in and just is a different end to the standard. Once we've hit those weird notes 7 and 6 there, it's an A and then to a G sharp. We're still trying to jump back in and get the rest of the chugging riff as though we hadn't missed anything or changed anything about the riff. So we're trying to sneak that new part in, including adding that extra note to pick, the 6th fret there. And so that 6th fret there kind of takes the place of 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. So it's snuck in there right in the rhythm, and then it just starts to, or continues, I should say, to alternate with the riff the whole rest of the way as the song fades out. And fade out, indeed it does. There's no big finale to this one. It just gets quieter until it goes away. So, that's my talk about A Whole Lot of Love, you guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what worked, what didn't work, and especially if you have requests of what you'd like to see next, let me know. And there we are. See you guys later.